That is a nice pardon. Are they looking for the dicker? Look at them. Where's your wee dick?
See if you had to lube up a historical figure, you don't get to f them, you're just lubing them up for somebody else. Who do you lube up?
Why would I want to do that?
I don't know.
I also know that the depictions of him make him look like complete like Egyptian Hawkeye. And then when they reconstructed his face, stinging.
Looks a wee bit like Tiny Tim from the George C. Scott Christmas Carol.
Have they got his skeleton?
Yeah, they have his mummy.
What about him?
They actually have his mummy as well, though.
Oh, really?
So
they've got the mummy's mummy?
What a fucking throne that is. That's conservatory furniture from the 1990s.
You and me, we're two friends who like our history. Whoa. Gonna start the greatest pod Spotify has ever seen. You and me, gonna split the myth from history. Whoa.
I like it. I like it. What was it called? 21 Pilots?
Stressed out.
Yeah. Time.
Here. Should I sing
Huh?
Should I sing the intro?
Sing. Yeah.
You and me going... No, hold on, let me start again.
Keep that in, though.
No, leave it in.
Keep all of it.
Leave it in. Because it's a learning process, and then by the end we're both singing and we're harmonising,
Right.
it's great. And we're going to do it the live one.
Right.
You and me, we're two friends who like our history. You give us a... Oh.
Oh.
Okay, start again. You and me, we're two friends who like our history.
Whoa.
No. Whoa. You and me, we're two friends who like our history. Oh.
Oh.
Don't do anything.
Right.
You and me, we're two friends who like our history. Whoa. Gonna start. Let's start again. Last time. You and me, we're two friends who like our history. Whoa. Gonna start the greatest pod Spotify has ever seen. You and me, gonna split the myth from history. Whoa.
I like it. I like it.
There could be more, but that's where we're at the minute with it.
Yeah. That's great.
I came
like
up with it on my way down to do a pee in between recording episodes and told Fosty downstairs when I was making tea, and I went, I've got the theme tune. He went, it's fired at the end. He didn't believe in it.
I liked that we started off with it.
Yeah.
And that we went through the... I feel like we all have ownership of it because
No,
we've
I
been through
only
the
IP,
practices. But I mean, I feel like we all feel like we're part of it.
Yeah.
So today's episode,
Get straight in.
Oh, I want to.
No lube?
No. Well,
no historical lube?
HL. If I was... See if you had to lube up a historical figure, you don't get to fuck them, you're just lubing them up for somebody else. Who do you lube up?
Why would I want to do that?
I don't know. You said lube and history and it all got confused. I think it'd be funny to lube up somebody really smart like Albert Einstein because he'd be very aware.
Yes,
of
I
what
could
you're
see him
doing.
being quite dry. As a guy, so.
Oh yeah, he
So it'd be like therapeutic.
Yeah, he doesn't have a wee wet bum like you know.
No.
He's too smart to be sweating out of his asshole.
Yeah, or maybe that's making him sweat out of his asshole because
he's so smart. It's all relative.
Yeah, I don't get that.
A equals MC squared relativity.
I know the theory of relativity. I understand how to explain it.
I don't.
Basically, if you're standing on a platform of a train and someone's going past, your perception at times different to theirs. What's today's subject?
I was like talking to Einstein because I don't know anything he just said. Today's subject is the curse of the pharaohs and or the discovery of the tomb of Tutankhamun. We're going to start with...
Which is it?
Well, do you know what? It's all about Tutankhamun. We're gonna look at Tutankhamun, his life, his death, the discovery of his tomb, and then the curse. But just generally a wee bit about curses in ancient times as well, because
I like what you've done there.
I like that.
Can I ask before we get into this? Have you heard the song "King Tut" by Steve Martin?
I think so. I've definitely seen him doing the
Egyptian stuff.
Classic.
It's when the
dance.
Tutankhamun exhibition started the tour, I think, and it was coming to New York. There was a real buzz about it, and he did that song, which I always enjoy.
Do you believe in curses?
No.
Maybe you will at the end of this. Oh shit.
No, I don't.
So what do you know already about Tutankhamun and about his tomb and all?
I know that in the back of the newspaper whenever I was about 10, there was a thing you could send away for, and it was a Tutankhamun head, like with a glass case on it. It was like a base, like a felt base.
Yep.
And it was like it was exactly like that, obviously, with it, but it was about this size, right?
Yeah.
that's 15 inches, right? And you put like a glass case on top of it.
Right.
And I know that I ordered that. And sorry, that's very unprofessional of me. My phone's ringing.
It happens.
Could be the curse. I know that I ordered that and had it in my bedroom, and then after a few months, I was like, "It's weird that I have this," and I just threw it out.
I think I had a wee mummy thing. It was like as wee. Don't know if it was him or it was just a generic mummy.
Right.
But it was like a wee sarcophagus thing, and you could press a wee button on it, and the head would flip up like that.
Oh, right. That's
was a wee thing.
I
But it was a wee thing. Like.
I also know that the depictions of him make him look like cute, like 9 out of 10, like complete like Egyptian hot guy. And then when they reconstructed his face, stinging.
Didn't have it going on. Looks a wee bit like Tiny Tim from the George C. Scott 1984 Christmas Carol.
Right.
I was saying to Dan, I don't know what he's done.
Decent thighs on him.
He's got big
It's
thighs.
the only thing he has going for him.
He's got big thighs though, because I don't think his feet were in great nick from what they've said about him.
Huge nipples.
I think
Big muffin top as well on him.
Big muff.
Big muffin top.
Oh, he's got, what's a muffin top?
It's like when your body goes like this, and then you've like fat around the hips, and it kind of goes out like top of a muffin.
Right. Okay. Body shaming Tutankhamun, but whatever.
No, I'll tell you what he has. He has the physique of a swimmer who's been injured for a while.
I wonder was he swimming in a pool of rocks if you look at his left leg, but also was he doing nets at the pyramids and he's like dived over to his left and he's crunched it. But this is all conjecture this here, because we don't like genuinely conjecture, because other people disagree.
He looks like he just had the herd on in Turkey as well.
Some people think that the what looks like he may have had a club foot on his left side may just be like decay and bad damage done to his body after the fact. So some people do think that, but anyway, let's get stuck in this. So Tutankhamun was Pharaoh of Egypt. He was the last last pharaoh of the. I fucked it already. He was the last pharaoh of, I believe.
Hey, can I say something? Take a deep breath in through your nose, but see, when you do, stop and then take a bit more, right, and let that go slow out your mouth. Now go.
Tutankhamun.
How much are you ready for bed after doing that?
I don't know. I'm so tired. I didn't sleep good last night. It took me ages getting over.
Can I tell you something?
What?
I bet, and I don't mean to sound like fucking every TikTok or whatever. Here's how you sleep. You know what you're doing? I guarantee you. Devices before bed.
I wasn't. I don't do devices.
What were you doing?
I couldn't get over.
But what were you doing just before you went to bed?
I went up to bed. I played a wee bit of Xbox.
Ladies and gentlemen, mystery solved.
No.
I don't do devices. I played Xbox.
Played a wee bit of Xbox until I was tired enough to go up to bed. Then I did my get ready for bed routine.
Which is what?
I do some gymnastics, and then I would undress. I would prepare some stuff for the next day, clothing and whatnot, and then I'll go and do my teeth and all.
Right, it sounds like you played Xbox and then you had 3 minutes where you did other stuff. Close your eyes, you went, I can't sleep after all this gaming.
No, I played the Xbox for about half an hour. I was writing until quite late last night.
Right, I want you to have some proper wind down time. What about a wee bit of meditation?
I normally read, but I was too tired to read last night, but then I couldn't sleep.
Yeah, but you're reading porn.
But I read it, it's a Braille version.
Right.
I like to feel the lumps. Now,
Braille housewives?
This guy. And right, so let's get stuck in this, right? Tutankhamun, Pharaoh of Egypt.
When are we talking?
Like 1300 BC through like 12 stuff BC. Mostly in the 1200s BC, like.
So going back?
Like, so what would that be? Like early 13th or early 14th
century BC.
Late 14th, early 13th century BC.
So even Jesus would have been looking at this guy being like, he's ancient.
This is antiquity. This is longer ago to Jesus than William the Conqueror is to us. Longer than that. We're going back. It's like us looking back at King Arthur, I think. right? So King Arthur, 800s.
Did he
Something like
exist?
that.
I mean,
I know, right? Well,
He's
anyway,
buried
right.
in Alta in Leicester.
So
They found him. That's true.
I was Richard, wasn't it? Richard the Third, Richard the
They're
something.
both there. They're both there. What are the
So anyway,
chances?
Richard, George,
No, he sells the
Richard.
clothes in Asda.
right? That's what it is. So that's great. So he was the last pharaoh. This is woeful. He was the last pharaoh of the 18th dynasty of Egyptian pharaohs.
You know what this is like? The Freeview.
The what?
The Freeview on the porn channels when you're a teenager.
Showing all the best bits, all
No,
the chaos,
no.
no penetration.
They're just standing there. Start doing stuff.
Stand there doing
Yeah.
the what do you call it, the Euro trash dance.
Yeah.
While the background moves. Anyway, see if we can
1332
do
to
that. See if
13.
you can put me on a moving background. Say it again.
1332 to 1323.
All right, okay, so it's all 13th, right? Fair enough. So 14th century BC, it's good knowledge. But he was a wee bit older. That's his reign, is it? So, I believe he basically he came to power after his most likely father is this other pharaoh called Akhenaten. And the names get quite tedious, by the way. But so Akhenaten was a guy who, when he took over, decided to sort of rejig Egyptian religion a wee bit. Closed off quite a lot of Egyptian cults because they worshipped different gods, and basically made Aten, which was the god that he was named after, the god, and was sort of trying to make it a wee bit more monotheistic, one god worshipping, right?
Sure.
And a lot of people didn't like this. A lot of people were going, "You're fucking with the religion. You're gonna piss off all the other gods." And sure enough, Akhenaten fucking dies, and there's a couple of bits of fucking around in the middle, and then
HFA.
historical fucking around, and Tutankhamun takes over, right?
At what age?
So was he? Let me get this now. Was he?
You can also say don't know.
No, but I did look this up. I think he was about. Was he about 18 when he took over?
The boy king.
And he lived until he was about 29.
Jeez.
I believe that's correct. Is that right, Dan? Or was he like 9 when he took over and died when he was 19? That's actually sounds more correct. 9 and 19.
Between 8 and 9 when he ascended to the throne.
Yeah,
I'd hate
8
that.
and 9, and then I know you're getting your mate. You should be collecting stickers. You know what I mean?
He's having to go to school, do his homework, and be the king.
Oh, do you know what though? Imagine when you were at 8 or 9, people being like bowing down and all. I'd be like,
Yeah, you would make that transition from just a boy to the king very quickly.
imagine how many magazines right now. So anyway,
What do you mean?
how many magazines you would get because you're a king? You don't even have to be.
Oh, you
here.
just get match
You
and
don't
shoot
even
them?
have to hold on to your mummy's hand.
Smash
You're
hits.
just getting them.
Right.
Fucking right, you're getting all the magazines. I'm even getting the girly ones.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just to have them.
Yes.
Lucky bags and all, right? So, I used to love a lucky bag now. So he takes over when he's like 8 or 9, right? And sort of fairly quickly decides let's go back to the old way of having different gods, and one of the gods is Amun, which was their weirdly their god of like Amun Ra, their god of the sun. So it all became this one big cult, and so he was he changed that, and people liked him for that. And
What- sorry, can I ask-
he got rid of Akhenaten's capital as well.
Clearly not. What's happening? Is Egypt like the dog's balls at this point?
Yeah, I mean this is pre Ramses and stuff like that. So Ramses was like a couple of pharaohs. He was the start of like the 19th dynasty. So isn't that right? 19th. There's this where there's a couple. Dan. So he was one of the last. He was the last real pharaoh in the 18th dynasty.
Right.
There was a couple of fuck around people after him for a wee while, and then Ramses took over. Actually, one of
Can we start calling fuck around people in history in any episode faps?
faps, right? There was
Just
a
these
couple
wee
of faps. There was one of these faps who was a wee bit of a a not so fap, right? Where Haramheb or something like that his name was. He was Tutankhamun's guy. He was like his vizier, right? His Jafar,
Right.
if you will, right? That's what he is, a royal vizier, a great word. Vizier, right? So not to be confused with the thing that holds your daddies. Now, so he you wouldn't want a brazier to give you advice, and you wouldn't want a vizier to hold your daddies. Now,
No. Oh, if you're a
um,
king, you can't.
maybe you would. You just go here, hold them. So his life was a wee bit fucked, right? Because he took over when he was quite young. He had these years then where Egypt, he sort of had to put down a few revolts and fight with a few people. He was fighting with
Is he getting involved himself? Like,
well, there's questions about this. There's talk that he was a very keen archer. There's a lot of bows and arrows, a lot of bows found in his tomb. So pictures of him as an archer and all this. So they were fighting with other nations basically in Africa. So what do you call it? Numidia, Nubian. He's fighting with them. Nubians.
no, Numidian.
Fighting with other tribe in Africa, other nation, right? And so apparently he actually went to war.
Nubians.
Other Africans, right?
Oasis.
Always, right? And he went over other. These were faps compared to Egypt, right?
Right.
I like that.
Yeah.
You wee fap right now anyway, which also does weirdly sound like, you know, you're gonna make somebody jizz. But anyway, he was fighting against them.
Do people like it?
Yeah, because it all worked out. It worked out great. They defeated these other people. Some people say that he probably went. He was definitely there. Other people say, did he really take part, or was he just sort of strategic?
If they weren't holding me back, all my mates tell me I can't get involved because I'm too good at fighting and all.
If I fucking pull out this club foot and hit you with it, you go down.
Yeah.
You'd actually die too quickly.
Yeah. Who wants a club sandwich?
So he was doing that like when he was a teenager, and then he gets back. So he gets back into Egypt or whatever, and this is when we start looking at how did he obviously died very young. He died when he was like 18, 19, right? And it's like, how did he die then becomes all the talk. So there's a lot of, they've done brilliant DNA tests, right? This is the right way to do this. We'll look at his death.
Unlike
and then
our
look at the
fucking
thing.
23andMe's.
Mm-hmm.
Great DNA test on like our 23andMe's.
Yeah, it says like how apparently he was 80% likely to have the ability to roll his tongue. Now he was able. Sorry, when he died,
He was Abel's.
I know when he died.
He was Abel's.
When he died, he was like 18 or 19. So they've done this test. They believe that he had this club foot, and that he would have needed the use of a cane. Right?
Have they got his skeleton?
Yeah, they have his mummy.
What about him?
They actually have his mummy as well, though.
Oh, really?
So
they've got the mummy's mummy?
Right, so his father was Akhenaten.
Yeah.
His mother is in another tomb from the Valley of the Kings. And she's known as the younger lady, sorry. This is the Valley of Kings, so this is where they discovered his tomb. Now, this is from a different angle of the Valley of Kings from the photo that I had. But is that his tomb there, Dan, is it? Or so the one that I was looking at was basically his tomb was over on that ridge there, over to the right. Okay. Now, before we get into how they got his tomb and all, just a lot of different theories about things that he may have had. Some people think that he had this head wound and that he'd been struck with a blunt object, but they've done amazing tests to prove that the bone fragment that was inside his skull was post-mortem, like way post-mortem injury that happened to the corpse, like in the 20th century. So like
Right.
he wasn't hitting the head.
Wait, can
Other
I ask
people-
a side note just while we're on it? Apologies. See, like the tombs in the Valley of the Kings and all.
Yeah.
Ballpark, when were they all discovered? Or have they never been not discovered?
So
again?
some of them, so obviously the bigger ones people know about, but a lot of them late 1800s, early 1900s, like for this modern,
What a buzz finding
like
one of them.
archaeological kind of like record keeping being done in the 1800s, 1900s, a massive swell of interest in the classical world in the late 1800s, early 1900s.
Why? Because people could travel more and stuff?
Yeah, so like the so-called grand tours of the Victorian times, where rich people would go through like Europe, so they would go and North Africa, so they would like be reading classics, and then they would go to like ancient Egypt, they go to ancient Greece, they go to ancient
And then they're
Rome.
going to publish what they find. And
Some of them on the grand tours, most people they were just buying shit that was there and taking it back to wherever they were from. This was sort of big in English, French, and German culture, and which are still sort of major countries in classics now, like classical studies. So then, like archaeology becoming like more prevalent in like late 1800s, early 1900s. More people are actually going to do like discover stuff and learn how to dig, but learn how to keep the records properly. And but it was still like it's nothing like modern archaeology. When you dig all this stuff up, it all usually gets thrown back in, and that causes problems, right? And actually, we're going to talk about how they discovered his tomb and how previous uh, civilization, but like previous to us, but after Tutankhamun, basically preserved his tomb. So, in terms of his death, though, lots of theories. They know from testing his body that he had at least 4 different strains of malaria, and so some people think that he must have died of this last strain of malaria that he had.
wasn't as well that sometimes they would do these kind of tests and stuff, and they'd find that these people, a lot of these rulers and kings and things like that, had poison in their bodies because sometimes they would like microdose poisons because they were also paranoid about getting poisoned.
Yeah, so like some of them,
Obviously, you wouldn't do that with malaria.
I don't think it happened with him, but like there's people who, so what do you call him, the first emperor of China,
Richard?
Qin. He fucking drank mercury, and he killed himself drinking mercury.
Freddie?
Or Charlemagne, you know, the famous Holy
French.
Roman emperor. He had an asbestos coat that he used to
I think
show
I got one of
people
them on
like
ASOS.
like a cloak. He used to show it to people and be like, "Look, you can't burn me," because it was obviously flame retardant, but it fully
Pardon?
poisoned him. What?
Go ahead.
And so
Just can't
anyway,
use that word anymore.
or some people think that Caligula and other Roman emperors were poisoned by the lead pipes on the Capitoline Hill because they had like lead plumbing, but like obviously then maybe lead poisoning leads to the, you know, I'm gonna buck my sister and go nuts sort of mentality. Speaking of bucking your sister, not your sister. Speaking of bucking sisters, Tutankhamun
Yeah.
fully at it with his sister, by the way, fully at it. Married to his sister. His mother and father may well have been close relatives. His mother was also his auntie, so they
Right.
were brother and sister.
Was
Flat
this
out.
a roy? Was this like a ruler thing, or was this just that society then?
I think it's part of their society where they're keeping it like a, shall we say, a tight knit little group, a very close family thing.
Right.
They're flat out bucking each other, right?
Right.
He ends up. They had two children.
Could that be why he like looks like it?
Why he looks or why he has like those issues, yeah. So like his wife, I think she was like maybe like his half sister. His wife, I mean, still not great, right? His wife is
Doesn't make it half less weird.
her name is basic like Ankh. It's very hard to say, like Ankh Sunamun or something like that, and she's the basis of like the female mummy in the Mummy movies. Ankh Sunamun they call her in that, but I think her name is like Ankh Senamun or something like that.
Yeah, pretty close.
It's hard. It's hard.
Thanks, says you done it.
And so they have her body as well. So they're able to test these bodies and see how they're related to each other, basically, right? So they have his mother. Some people thought his mother was Nefertiti, who was this sort of famously beautiful I mean, beautiful. They've also done a facial reconstruction of her.
Yikes.
Oh, great. Right? I mean, looks like she should be the, she should also be bouncing at like the fucking Dirty Onion or something.
Looks like she should be playing centre back for the Welders.
Unbelievable. So basically, a lot of different theories about his death. Some people think he may have been epileptic as well, and he could have died from a seizure. He had scoliosis as well, which I think is a curved spine.
Yeah.
So he had that. I mean, tough life, right?
Oh,
Now, a couple of things that I think are cool, just generally that I know about him, are that he had a dagger that was made out of a meteor. Like the blade is made from the metal taken from a fucking actual meteor because they've tested it, and it's from outer space, which is probably the coolest knife story I've got.
He had a club foot. He was the product of incest. He had scoliosis. He was epileptic, but he had a space knife.
Here. Space knife counts for an awful lot, though.
Yeah.
I mean, here, not saying that for all those reasons I couldn't have been mates with him, but I definitely would have wanted to be mates with Space Knife.
Really, a space knife.
That's so, Space Knife was fucking unreal. So anyway, he right. So he's dead. After him, a couple of Faps take over, and then it's Ramses, and we're in that dynasty then, right? So,
can I say, growing up, dynasty, whatever you prefer, was the best Chinese takeaway in Hollywood. It's
really?
Brilliant.
Is it still open?
It's a Golden Rainbow now, pal. But, no, in fact, no, sorry, I get confused between then Silver City and Dynasty, but Dynasty was brilliant. Can't speak for Golden Rainbow at the minute. I don't know what it's like. But
Is there
Dynasty
Chinese
was
that you
brilliant.
go to now?
No.
No. I haven't been.
I make my own.
I haven't been since Christmas to the Chinese. It's. I know it sounds like nothing, as it's.
Here, no.
We're 2 weeks into January. That's a big deal.
No, I'm proud that you've
£7 down. I'm not even getting into it.
That's cheap.
Fuck the haters, right? See what you did there. So anyway, right.
What's your order?
Huh?
What's your order?
Oh, I like
You'll definitely realize I shouldn't tell you.
in one box. I like getting one box that has a curry half and half of noodles and rice, and salt and chili chicken over the top of that. That is a fucking great time.
Mm-hmm.
They do it so good. Element Sandy Town. We love it.
You know my order? So in my house, what we'll do is we'll get 2 different things and mix it all.
Jersey.
So,
You strike me as a sweet and sour sort of guy.
no, I have done before. Salt and chili chicken,
It's the best.
honey chili chicken, boiled rice, chips, mix all them bad boys up.
Curry sauce.
I don't.
I need the sauce.
Right.
So there it is. Vespasian says no to culinary chat. Now
Here, we should have brought Coco in for this episode.
he loves it.
He loves it. My barber's
From
Egyptian.
Egypt, isn't he?
Yeah.
What part of Egypt is he from? Do you know?
No. Do you want me to ask? Do you want me to phone him and see what he knows about Tutankhamun?
Yeah. While you're doing that, I'll tell you a wee bit about. We've sort of covered the rise of classics and Egyptology.
Nah, I'm ringing him. He won't know anything about Tutankhamun.
I think I need the burp. Do you want it into the mic?
No. We're not like that here.
Hello?
Coco, just a wee quick one, mate. Me and Kieran are doing a podcast episode about Tutankhamun. Do you know anything cool about Tutankhamun you can tell us?
What is it, sorry?
We're doing a podcast episode about Tutankhamun, me and Kieran,
Yeah.
and we just want to know if you know anything cool about Tutankhamun you could tell us.
Not really.
All right. Okay, brother. I'll see you next week.
Sorry, mate.
All right, mate. See you later.
Bye.
Bye.
Useless on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. Phone a friend. You get an Egyptology question. Don't phone him. Phone me. Right. So, let's talk about his tomb, and then we'll talk about curses and the curse. Right. So, his tomb. So this guy Howard, a terrible name. We're just gonna call him.
Just
Carter.
say hard.
Hard Carter. Right. You're hard. Right. So he. Do I have a picture of Carter? let's get a wee pick off him, Dan. He's important in this story. He found a fucking thing. You do have a picture of him because he's in the picture of the tomb.
Kieran, whoa, keep your head, man.
But I don't know if you can see him great in the open tomb. I have 2 pictures of him. Right, that's a good one, right?
That is a nice pardon.
Right,
That's
isn't
her,
it?
yeah.
So,
Are they looking for the dicker? Look at them. Where's your wee dick?
so
Here, take a wee toffee armour to his dicker, will you? That's it. Get a wee leg on his wee dicker.
brush it, dick. So,
See if he gets a hardener.
unbelievable. So,
AEH.
what?
Ancient Egyptian hardener.
PR pyramid route, right? So he so he hard Carter
Bet he was.
is a guy. He's an English guy. He went to Egypt in the late 1800s, right? And he did work for other archaeologists. Developed a wee bit. He was a painter. So he was apparently a really good artist, really good painter. And when he was quite young, like 17 or 18 or whatever, he ends up in Egypt. And do you know what he's doing? He's going into places and painting Egyptian objects that have been found, and painting. He's copying what's on the walls in tombs that are being found, so that people can they can print it in newspapers, people can see it. That
Why
kind
didn't
of
you just
thing.
bring a camera?
They didn't really do. They didn't have it at this point properly, that way. It was all specialist equipment anyway. So he's able to paint. So that's what he was in doing, and then he's been on a lot of digs. He's learning the business of how to hire local Egyptian guys to do the fucking backbreaking work of digging through this fucking sand, and then some Western guy like him controls the dig basically and tells people where to dig, and then he gets all the credit and running the business of working with the fucking antiquities people in Egypt, a big government department they have there
Can I
to
say-
get permission to dig and all,
I
right?
say I really like the way he's dressed.
You
He
do.
looks like he's wearing a pair of 501s
I
and
know,
a nice
yeah.
wee fitted shirt from M&S.
He's doing all right, and I mean, he looks like he could be doing that now. Do you know what I mean?
HGC? Historically cute guy.
That's HCG.
So you say he went...
HGC is historically cute guy, as told you by somebody with reading issues. Look, you know what I mean?
AKA me.
Um,
Is he... So you're saying he went over there and he's 17, 18? Does
Yeah.
he just stay there?
Yeah,
Because he's
Essen-
old.
essentially. I think he was back and forth a couple of times, but he basically stays there. Develops a wee bit of a bad rep. Interesting for us, wee bit of a bad rep. Guess what he gets a rep for?
Just trying to see the dicks.
Well, funny you should mention that, because that is part of a rep that he develops. That he has a what's the word? A propensity for young hot boys, and out
Out of the tomb, above ground.
above ground, and the occasional
AGBs, above ground boys.
and the occasional exotic dancer.
I can
So-
live with
so-
that,
so
but not the boys.
He'll turf a woman if she's a stripper. He seems to have generally, and this is all from different letters and things that I was learning about. He seems to have potentially been a closeted gay guy, right? So he develops that rep, but he develops a which isn't a great reputation to have at this time, right? Late 1800s, early 1900s in Egypt, in British culture in Egypt. So he also develops a bit of a rep for being a wee bit of a pincher, Shane. And I'm not talking about wee bums.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm talking about a wee rep for I was on this dig and I happened to get this fucking ancient Egyptian amulet out of this place. Nobody knows about it. There's a wee present for you. Other people going, this is a bit rare. He's definitely stealing stuff.
Right.
You get into a fucking full row with people over this, with I think French archaeologists and stuff about his right to be there digging and his right to take artifacts, and people didn't like this about him.
Yeah.
So he's been then 1900s, 1910s. He's been early 1910s. He's been working for Lord Carnarvon, right? So we'll have a
Sounds like an arse.
he is. So we'll have a picture of the Lord, right?
Ah,
I mean, is he a lord or is he a lord? Look at that guy.
definitely an HAG. Historically awful guy.
Oh, I don't
Also,
know about
don't mind
that.
the cut of his suit.
I was gonna say HSD, historical sweet dresser.
No, I'll agree with you there, definitely.
Can I also just throw this out there?
Yeah.
What a fucking throne that is.
That's a nice seat.
That's conservatory furniture from the 1990s,
Definitely.
right?
Definitely.
You know, he's had a wee trip to Dunelm, right? So he has a load of money, right? He has become ill in England.
Right.
Carnarvon has, and they say to him here, classic late 19th, early 20th century doctor's orders. You need a wee bit of drier weather, bro.
Yep.
Right?
Yep. Yep.
It's the damp. The damp's getting you.
To be fair, that's like my dad having like asbestos in his lungs and going to Tenerife.
Right here, it helps, right? So he goes for a bit of drier weather. He goes to Egypt. He's recovering in Egypt. He's very ill, and he takes up an interest in ancient Egypt and Egyptology, and he starts funding digs and funding archaeology.
So he wasn't before he went there. Sorry, I
wasn't
thought
particularly arsed
Right.
by all accounts. Was there for the weather, stayed for the artifacts, right? Became very interested. He looks around for people. Somebody recommends Carter to him. They end up working quite closely. Now, apparently as well, Carter also had a reputation for being a very difficult little cunt, right? Everyone basically said guy was a fucking asshole, right? Very difficult, very fucking anal about things, and a bit of an asshole.
Sounds like it.
Yeah, right. So, yeah. So Carnarvon's funding it all. They've had a few digs. It's not going well, right?
Yeah.
World War One happens. Chaos, right?
Right.
All fucking, it's just melting as fuck.
Was there combat in Egypt?
Yeah.
In World War One?
Yeah, so like
Were the pyramids
across
damaged?
North Africa. I don't think they were particularly damaged, the pyramids or anything, but like the desert around Cairo was definitely part of the war, like, and just a fucking nightmare, right? And it's all like a lot of stuff like that got shut down. There wasn't really as much
Who
going
was
on.
fighting in Egypt?
Fucking everybody. Like, what do you mean?
Like, what was the actual? I know it's nothing to do with the episode. What combat in World War One
There
was
was
going on
definitely
in Egypt?
British forces in Egypt,
Against
French
who?
forces against like fucking German forces, the Turkish forces, I think, as well. Like,
Holy shit.
say again? Italians, maybe, yeah. Just a whole fuckfest in North Africa as part of World War One, right?
NAFF.
What's that?
North African Fuckfest.
Oh, unbelievable! I love that. NAF. That's what that spells. I would fucking hate. Do you know where I would hate the fight? North Africa or like out in the jungle. The jungle.
I go jungle ahead of like Siberia.
I would go for cold ahead of anywhere hot.
I thrive in
I'll
hot weather.
operate all right in the cold. I have
Yeah,
I
but
have no
Siberia
layers.
cold's not like, oh, put a jumper on, you're okay.
I played.
But I have knitwear on.
I played five-a-side when I was on holiday in Turkey at 1 a.m. and it must have been 30 degrees. The humidity was wild and I was strolling about like peak Rivaldo. So I'd prefer the jungle. And by the way, I'd been drinking.
I'd be.
I got picked up by a child in a Mercedes and that is no way a lie.
I would be rolling about in that weather,
Yeah.
like a fucking beached one, like just a nightmare. Anyway, so Carnarvon's funding Carter. World War One ends. They do another dig or two. Not great. And
They're not into it, they're just like this. Oh no.
Carnarvon's getting a bit pissy now and going, I'm not mad keen on this. They've been digging in the Valley of the Kings looking for stuff they haven't really found too much.
Say you
Carter
you
has a theory.
you probably don't know the answer to this. Say you just want to start digging for stuff back then. Can you just dig, or people just you pay some people off?
You would have to get permission from like the antiquities department in Egypt, right?
Few crisp ones.
Probably you're probably dropping a bit of coin, like, yeah, and you're hiring local people to do the actual work, right? So it's still way dodgier then than it is now. I mean, there's a lot more rules and regulation now about like when you find stuff, what has to happen, and still people are dodgy bastards. But anyway, like there was those guys get done there recently with trying to sell a coin hoard in England that they found in England, like on the black market. They're in fucking jail right anyway. So like it's pretty serious shit.
And for a
and
penny.
and in a country, that's great. In for a hoard of pennies. In countries like Egypt or Greece or Rome, where there's like masses of highly valuable like antiques, basically, and antiquities, like it's like there's a whole government department set up to deal with this shit, right?
Coco does have these in his shop. He's just sent me a picture. He does have these in his shop. So
Let's see. So that's obviously like is that that's maybe more like the Ramses thing. But
He
I
won't
think
know.
The
He
woman,
won't
the
know.
woman's meant to be like Nefertiti, isn't it? That's like the head that they think is Nefertiti. Anyway, that's great. So Carter has a theory. There's like a row of houses that are still ancient themselves, but way after Tutankhamun, and they're like so they're ruins. And Carter has this theory that they may have been built on top of something, because this is something that would have happened. And obviously with the sand and stuff there, sand will blow in and sit on top of stuff, especially over like hundreds of years,
Sandy
and then
feet.
people will build on that, right? So Carter wants to dig at these houses. So he says to the guys, he says to Carnarvon, and Carnarvon says, I will fund this. We're doing one more season, and that's your lot, right? And so he pays for it. And then, sure enough, they're digging away at these houses. And on one day, this young boy who's part of the team fucking apparently trips over like a rock, what looks to them like a stone, and turns out to be the top step of a staircase going down into the ground. Now we'll have a picture of them opening the tomb. So this is in November 1922.
It's not.
They find
Oh my god.
what he actually found was a door that had the cartouche of
Pronounced cartoon.
Tutankhamun on it. So the cartouche is obviously the hieroglyphs of his name, right? And so he knows that this is fucking serious. He knows it hasn't been fucking disturbed in a long time, because they had to dig down under ruined old houses to find it, right? And they basically open it, and the story goes, so that's one of the guys on the team. That's Carter and an Egyptian guy that was there digging with them. And the story goes that they open when they get Carnarvon there. They send for Carnarvon. He gets there, I think, in a couple of days with his daughter, maybe a couple of weeks. But they open the top corner of the door. They chisel the top bit of it off and shine a torch through. And somebody says to Carter, "Can you see anything?" And he says, "Yes, I can see everything. Wonderful things." Right? And then they
Say it like the way you think he would have said it.
"Yes,
No, I'll say, can you see anything? Can you see anything?
yes, I see everything. Wonderful things."
That was really good.
Thank you, Harmy. Now, if you want to see Hard Carter as a fat bald guy, I'm ready. So they get inside. That's when all manner of riches are found in here. So you have that mask, you have a load of canes, loads of them.
All right.
A load of bows. The Coptic jars that have all his like entrails in the jars. They preserved all this. They have the mummy itself inside the sarcophagus. There's the daggers. There's swords.
The space dagger?
I think Space Knife was in there.
Do you think they like? Surely there's a lot. Or do you think they pay for security on this? Because surely if word gets about, these English guys have found Tutankhamun's tomb. Surely a load of bodies come around and be like, "Get the fuck out
Well,
of
see,
here."
this is a problem with the Valley of the Kings generally, is that loads of these tombs. This is why, like, when they find tombs now, they're very often the mummies in it, and maybe like the wooden box of the sarcophagus is in it. But like most of the stuff's been stripped out of it, and it's not because it wasn't there. It's because it was robbed in fucking antiquity. It was robbed 2,000 years ago. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
So these guys actually find one that's intact like this. Is there anything I'm missing that was in there that's like really important? Was there a chariot in there?
Lava
Am I
lamp.
making that up?
There was a lava lamp.
Might have been.
There was loads of mental shit, but like basically you're talking about millions and millions and millions of pounds worth of shit. Priceless artifacts and all this history. The paintings of Tutankhamun, paintings of him where he's like meeting different Egyptian gods and hanging out with them, Osiris, Amun-Ra, all these different gods. And basically then that's Carnarvon and Carter, they're made, like, obviously for life. Carter is meant to have fully stolen stuff out of this place, by the way.
He would have.
And given it out as gifts to people and all that he knew. Now,
The entrails.
The entrails. And
Here's a kidney, mate.
HEG, historical entrail giver.
Mm-hmm.
So he basically, this is when we need to start talking about the curse then, in it, because they found it, they stripped a lot of it out. The mask and all that, you can still see it in Egypt, but I think that then they bring quite a lot of it. Did they bring some of it through to England first, and then it went back?
Yeah, there's also there's a warning on the tomb.
A warning about like basically if you
Death
disturb this.
shall come on swift wings to him who disturbs the peace of the king.
See when I see it? Nah.
Just leave it.
See it. Let
Yeah.
let someone else open it.
Yeah. So then this
Will you
is
do the honours, mate, the way Egyptian guy there?
so curses generally, right? So you call it execration text, right? So execration is another word for
Just got an execration text.
for the curse, right? So like, there's a couple of other tombs say things like that on them as well, and sometimes you get it on like so there's like shabtis or these little they're like wardens of the afterlife basically. Now some tombs will have had like hundreds of shabtis in them. They're all like little. Sometimes they're like little people or wee animals, and they'll have writing painted onto them, and it's mostly prayers and stuff like that, or like, you know, obviously like they believe in putting stuff into the tomb that was relevant to that person. So like
Yeah.
if he did need the use of a cane, putting in a load of canes, or like he was meant to be a good archer, so they put in a load of archery stuff. That's all great, right? And then they shabtis and things like that, and different things can sometimes have these curses on it, or they'll put them on slightly different types of a shabti that have like, it'll be like a list of all that person's enemies, or like a list of people, like not just people who fucked them over, but maybe what they did, and curses on them if they think bad of this person after they're dead, or like that to warn people in the afterlife that this person doesn't want to be near those people in the afterlife, all that sort of shit.
Keep
right?
him away from me.
Right? Yeah, like they were real spiritual, really into all this, right? And so it's sort of similar. Like there's evidence from other places. So like I know that people would have written curses in the Roman Empire as well, where you would get like a piece of lead, and because you can score lead, you can write on it quite easily. So you would write like a curse onto the lead, and then you fold it up, and then you melt it closed, so no one can read it again, and then you offer it somewhere, or you bury it somewhere, something like that, right? So that, like, people were into this stuff. They believed that this shit really worked. Sorry.
So people nowadays believe Liverpool are going to win the league.
What? What is it?
Fuck's sake, ain't got mad. People ain't like people in Man United are going to win the league. Says.
So here's the thing with this curse then, right? Some people believe in the Pharaoh's curse because relatively sure.
Oh no. Are you going to tell me freaky things start happening to these guys?
Yeah, so a couple of weirdnesses, and then we'll get into the deaths, right? So weirdness would be didn't what do you call him? Carter believes that he saw a jackal, the same type of jackal as the Egyptian god of death, I think Anubis. I believe that he saw this like later, like in the day or two after opening the tomb, and a big sign of bad luck, and it hadn't been sighted in a long time, and he believed he saw one out in the desert. A guy who was on the dig, one of the people in the team, so one of the curses was about said that fire and water would come, and his house burnt down, and then after they rebuilt it, it flooded like pretty quickly. Carnarvon, this is when we're getting into the real shit here. Carnarvon got bitten on the beak by what do I call it, a mosquito, and had the mosquito bite on his face, and this is within 2 years, I think, of the
23 died, so yeah.
oh, like within a
The
year,
following
right?
year.
19. Oh, sorry.
yeah.
Yeah, 19.
Yeah, 1923. So he has the bite on his face.
Is he still in Egypt?
Yeah, when he got bitten, yeah, and he shaved over it. foolish. Wasn't using Manscaped,
I know.
right?
Take me for 20% off.
Fucking
Free shipping.
yeah, no blasters. 20% off. Free shipping. Anyway, shaves over it, and then it develops this fucking mad infection, and
No wonder.
he fucking died from shaving over a mosquito bite. And so people are like, holy fuck, the curse is real. Death has come on swift wings to this cunt.
2 years.
And then there's the thing with the house and all.
Must have been
getting burnt
raining.
down. And then a couple of other people in the next 15 years died younger than they should have died, but died in like
We're clutching at straws.
rare circumstances though, where they're maybe like fucking burnt or some guy fell.
Well, George J. Gould, an American businessman who visited the tomb, died the same year he visited the tomb in 1923. Prince Ali Kamel.
He developed some weird infection.
He had
didn't
pneumonia,
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
An Egyptian prince was murdered in 1923 after having visited the tomb.
All people died back in. Like,
Sir Bruce Ingram, radiologist involved in the X-ray of Tutankhamun, died. Lord Carnarvon's half-brother died in 1923 of blood poisoning. Captain Richard Bethel, personal secretary Carnarvon, died. And Douglas Reed, another radiologist, died.
See? And
Everybody
then
was-
some people say Carter, he died at 64 of lymphoma before he died, what, like 16 years or something after this. I probably think he didn't meet a curse there. Like, 16 years later, dying of cancer. I think the guy, I think he smoked, didn't he?
Yeah.
you talk to Dan as if he knows every question
Dan
in
has a
history.
computer.
Yeah, but you don't say, Dan, could we look that up? You go, Dan, didn't he smoke?
I think he did.
Dan, how did he smoke a day?
Anyway, what brand did he smoke? So anyway, he I sort of that's fucking
And it won't be picked up by the mics, I
pat
don't
the head.
think. Pat the head of a Nepalese soy boy.
Frosty said camel for
Here,
anybody
give
that
the
missed that.
Nepalese soy boy a wee kiss in the head, because that deserves it, okay?
Or I've just got COVID from him.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable, Frosty.
So you don't believe in that curse? You don't think that that's like a thing?
No.
I genuinely wonder about it.
But
I wonder about things
can't.
like that.
it can't be real.
Why?
It just can't.
A curse is put on it. People saying if you open this, you'll die, and a load of people who did it died, and you don't think there's a connection.
No.
A weird coincidence.
People were dying of all sorts of things back then.
It's only 100 years ago. This is fucking. This is 1920s. Like
Nah, people were.
It's like selection bias, isn't it?
They were all living
yeah,
out in
some
Egypt.
people
They were all
listen-
living out in Egypt.
some people say there's an Egyptologist who I looked up who said that this is unadulterated claptrap, right? And I'm like, get better words, right? Just say it's a load of bollocks right now. Anyway, I don't think it's bollocks. I wonder about stuff like this.
So you're saying 100% history?
This is all history. So the stuff that's weird, obviously, right, is like, and stuff that is up for discussion. Even when they've done these DNA tests and they've done all the tests on his bones, there's still a chance that he didn't have those issues. There's still a chance that the canes are just in there as like a thing that a pharaoh might have had, right? He probably did have a problem. I'm just giving you a devil's advocate, right? Also, the stuff to do with his parentage and stuff like that, I think is interesting, because I think it's brilliant that they're able to go, this is definitely his father, this is definitely his mother.
Yep.
Those two were fucking brother and sister. And
Literally.
his wife. His wife also went on to be the wife of the next couple of faps that took over as well. So she was fucking getting about a bit. And not the slut shame Anak Sunamun or anything like that. And then also, like, I just sort of think, like, it's mostly history. We've seen it all. It raises some questions though about myths because of the curse.
Not in your
I mean,
head.
what?
Not in your head.
Oh no, there's some questions. I wonder about it. I'm not going, no, it's 100%. This is real. I go, it is a bit weird, that happened. And
Just think of the number of people who went to see the tomb and were part of the team to take it out, who nothing ever happened to.
Yeah.
Like there's hundreds and hundreds of other people.
some of them might have just been following orders, or maybe Tutankhamun didn't really. He didn't kill a load of the Egyptian guys that opened it, did he? Because he knows they were just dog's bodies.
Shouldn't be working for the infidel.
It's very
Gregarious.
strong language there, Dan.
Gregarious? I don't know what that means.
No, I don't think.
No,
I don't think.
I don't know what it means.
I wonder though about the curse. I also wonder about like, you know, people taking this stuff out of where it's meant to be. I have an issue with that, like just generally, you know, taking things from Egypt
Yes.
and putting them in British Museum or German Museum.
Oh yeah, of course.
I think that's weird.
My dad's been to the Valley of Kings and all those
Really?
places, yeah.
I would love to go to it, but I worry about going to
And he's got.
Egypt now.
That's where the asbestos maybe came from.
Is that the curse?
I had it before he went, but it makes you
mean-
wonder. Is Peyronie's disease?
I was about to say maybe that's where
My
the
dad's
Peyronie's
wonky
disease-
dick,
He's
maybe
got a
Tutankhamun.
wee fucking pyramid shaped walt now.
Maybe Tutankhamun said, "Hey, talking about my club foot, I'll give you club dick."
Club Dick sounds like somewhere Carter would have hung out.
Yeah,
in,
yeah.
in Cairo. But I also wonder. I just wonder about stuff like that. But see when they take stuff out of those places, it's
Yes,
like
it
you know
disturbs
they're
them.
arguing about the Elgin marbles now and should they give them back to Greece?
Aye.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
It's I mean, see in France, what do they call him? The guy Mitterrand, who was the French
Left back played for Rennes.
played for Marseille. Yeah, he with Jean-Pierre Papin. Anyway, he great. He Mitterrand was the French president or whatever in late 70s, early 80s,
Yeah, Dan, wasn't he? Dan.
Yeah. 78 to 83, I think.
and he is that even right or are you just saying these? Anyway, Mitterrand was famous for his love of Egypt.
Right.
But he took it's because of Mitterrand that the Louvre has the pyramid and all.
Oh, right. Okay.
He basically okayed all that. Like there's Egyptian artifacts and all in France that should probably be given back. And it's all this stuff to do with the colonial past of like France and Britain and all being out there. And it's
Give it
like
back.
I think they should
Why
be
you
giving them
don't
it
give it
back.
back?
You know, that's what these departments are for in those governments and countries like that. They know how to preserve it. They know how to keep it there. And that's where it should be. It shouldn't be taken. And yes, you know, when you have like people, so like for instance at Birmingham, there's a whole Shabti collection that are donated by a guy, I think they're actually unknown to the uni for research purposes, but there's like a few hundred Shabtis that were collected by a guy who went, British guy who went on like the Grand Tour, and I think he was part of the military and stuff as well. And his estate has given these into the uni. But like, I mean, that's an English guy. They should be in fucking Egypt. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
give him back to
It
Egypt.
belongs in a museum. If I've learned anything from Indiana Jones.
I think you presented a lot of history there. I think the curse bit is myth, but I like that you think you've got questions.
I always think stuff like that you shouldn't shut off. You know, you should absorb it as part of the history. You know, but I'm weird that way. Thanks for a great episode.
Thanks, brother.
Would you want it to be a furrow?
No.
Would you want a pyramid? I love the idea of having a mad monument built to me after I'm dead and that I'm above the ground. A pyramid, like a full pyramid. Like Tutankhamun didn't have it. Actually, I should have said, last thing, his grave was probably rushed because they weren't expecting him to die so young.
Yeah.
So he's probably actually buried in a grave built for somebody else. Interesting. Well, thanks for joining us here on this episode all about Tutankhamun and the curse, and mind yourself, don't be going into anybody's graves now.
Yep. Careful.